Hello people, this is Colin from Cam Decorations. I thought I might as well do a review between the Graco 390 and the Tritech T4. My thoughts, pros and cons between both machines. And realistically, I mean I've got both of them in that, but realistically if I was a first time sprayer, which machine I would ultimately get. You know, because I mean you've also got the the Titan 440i or 440 in that, which apparently is a good machine, but I've never used it in that. But since I've got these two machines now, I thought I'd do the pros and cons and that between the machines and that, and what I personally think, what machine for a person who's just starting to spray on the building site, what machine they should go for. Right, so let's start with the Graco 390. Right, good thing about it, absolutely amazing to clean out, really quick. I mean it can take literally maybe about 7 litres of water to clean this machine out. You're talking about, if you're on site and that, you're talking about maybe about 15 minutes, and that's cleaning your tips as well. The filter up here at the top is really nice and easy to get to. It's really nice and easy to take off and clean and stuff like that. And it's light. It is light. It's a light spraying machine. It's lighter than the Tritech. But yeah, and also another good thing is, so instead of you taking your machine in to get serviced, you can just pretty much service it yourself, because the pump comes right out. The whole lot comes right out. I can't remember what it's called than that. And you just replace it back in. It's 200 quid. So unlike a service and that, a service more likely will cost you 200 quid, and then you've got your post off the machine and stuff, so they could come up to about 250 quid. You'll just get a new pump for 200 quid and do it yourself. It could cost even more. I'll tell you what's happened to my T4 and how it cost me, ended up costing me about 340 quid. But there you go. Negatives. Right. Don't like this gauge, pressure gauge. It looks like a little toy, so I'm not really too keen on it. It just really looks like a little toy. The machine seems to pulsate, because there's another good thing. The reason why I personally think it cleans really quick is because it pulsates. So when you are cleaning down, it's pulsating through the pipe, pulsating through the machine, and it's easy to, it just seems to clean a lot quicker because it's pulsating, getting rid of that paint. Downside to the pulsating is it takes a little bit of time. Say for instance you want it on 1400 psi, it takes a little bit of time to actually get it directly on 1400 psi, because like it's almost like you put it on the downstroke and then you get the true pressure of what it is. It could take like about 4 or 5 attempts to actually get it on the actual pressure you want. Another thing is the spray primer. It just looks like it could snap at any moment. It's just really it almost feels flimsy in that, you know. But yeah, and I've seen my friends one breaking that. Also, the priming tube. I'm very careful of this, because I had a friend's one whose priming tube, this part here, actually broke, and it's just left with the pipe in that, and it's just a flimsy plastic pipe, so that's another thing to be careful of. But I'm nitpicking now, and like obviously it doesn't sit in the siphoning hose, and the priming tube doesn't sit into the cup that well. And another thing I personally really didn't like was the gun that it came with. Now the gun it comes with is a Graco FTX gun, and I'll show you what gun I've got on here now. I've got a Tritech gun, a Tritech 360. Yeah, it's Tritech T360. Now, they're good guns, they are. I like those guns. The gun it came with, and that the FTX, Graco FTX, it was just blowing my tips out left, right and centre. And I've spoken to a few people about it, and it just seems to be their problem when you first get the guns. Then the filters, they just seem to blow out the tips really good. And another thing I noticed with their guns as well, and that it's like, after loosening it for a little while, you pull your finger off the trigger, it seems to take, it's like a delayed reaction, maybe 2 or 3 seconds, and paint is just spewing out all over the place. So if you're spraying the door, that's the last thing you want to happen. So if you are looking to get a Graco 390, definitely one of the first things you need to do, change that gun and get a decent gun. I don't even think the Contractor 2 guns all that, because it's got the same problems with that. So, you know, that's just my food and thought about it. Right, now we have the Tritech T4, made by a missile guidance company. Now this machine is rugged, it's a bit heavier. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you about the size tips. Now this machine here, this takes like up to a 21 tip, so it can take a 521, that's the maximum. This one here takes a 23 tip, so it can maximum tip it can take is a 23, 623, whatever, not as long as you don't exceed the 23 part. Now it's built robust. You can see the quality in it. I mean, you can see why it costs like more likely £600 more, because it's just built really quality wise in that. You can see that is quality bit. And if you have a look at the pressure gauge, I know mine's reading this 2 bar on there at the moment. It's a bit screwed for some reason, so I'm going to have to get rid of this pressure gauge, get a new one. It doesn't look like a toy. It's a proper pressure gauge, you know. It's quality. If you have a look at the siphoning hose as well, it's sitting in there. So, it's sitting in there properly. It sits in there properly in that where it should sit. It's not dangling to the side, so you can't get caught in anything inside the fan in there. Obviously you've got your hoses there. I think it's just a decent quality, and I'll tell you one thing I love about this Tritech. When you want to put it on a certain pressure, you can dial it in almost straight away. You want it on 1400, you can put it on 1400 in seconds. It's just so accurate. It's really, really good. Now, the little bits and pieces that I don't like. Now, it can be a bugger with this manifold filter. Sometimes you just do it up and all of a sudden it's just seats. You can't get it off when you go to clean it, so you have to end up getting a spanner and undoing it. So that's a pain in the arse. And to tell the truth, this machine was supposed to be like, you know, I spoke to the guy and he's hardly supposed to ever get them in any machines back, even for servicing and stuff like that. Now within a space of 18 months it's had 2 sets of seals and a piston. Now the first set of seals I got done for free, because you've got a guarantee with it, so it gets done for free. That's one good thing Tritech does. But what's happened is, literally 2 months later, it's gone down again, seals went, and this time they changed the piston and seals. And now this is what I was saying. Now with the posting, new piston, new seals, that ended up costing me 340 quid. Now if you had the Graco, you could just swap that over, get a new pump, that's 200 quid, and it's free posting and packaging. You know, so I'm kind of worried with that. I don't know how long these next set of seals are going to last me for, so I'm a bit worried about it. But it's a workhorse. I mean, but another downside to it is it takes ages to clean, honestly. Twice the length of time as the Graco and that. I usually just take it home. I run a little bit of water through it at work, and then I'll take it home, and like it can take like definitely about 30 minutes, 35 minutes to clean it down. I do like obviously the metal body to it, but as you say, by having it all metal, it weighs a little bit more. Not that much more, but it weighs a bit more. But there you go, that's the differences between the Tritech and the 390. Now my personal preference, I would go between the pair of them, the 390. It's a bit lighter. You can move it around the building site a lot quicker, a lot easier, because you know what it's like in a building site. Sometimes you just cannot drive in to get to the house where you want to get to. I think if you've got any issues, like with the seals and stuff like that, you can quickly just take out the pump and just put in a new pump. It's 200 quid, whilst this one, you have to take this in for a servicing. You do not need to take this one in for a servicing. So I'll definitely, I would have had my way again. I would definitely go for the 390. A lot easier to clean down. It's lighter and it's easier with the change of, what's it called, Connect Pro pump or something like that, where you can just change out the pump when it needs servicing. And also the price difference, because you're looking at 1125 for the Graco, and for the T4 you're looking at 1700 and £17, 1730 or something like that. So there's a huge price difference between them. There's one thing though, because I like to use a big tip, so I use a 621 tip. Now with the 390, I wouldn't use the 621 tip, because that's the maximum your machine can run at. So that's the problem with that, you know. And I like using the 21 tip, 21, because it just puts that more paint on when you miscoating. So like for miscoating, I do use the T4 because that takes up to a 0.23. But you know, for internal of the house spraying, like finish coat, spraying your woodwork, I prefer to use the Graco. Just a lot easier to run around and using that. But yeah, but I suppose if you get in the machine, you wanted to get in the machine in between, the best machine would be to get the Graco 495, because that runs a 0.23 tip, cleans just as quick, and it's got the same sort of Pro Connect pump sort of thing that goes with it. So I would say, if you're a beginner and you ain't got a lot of money, go for the 390. If you've got a bit of money, say you've got the money to get the Tritech T4, I would just go for the Graco 495, because it runs the same size. I mean, if, like, as you say, I mean, I a lot of guys like miscoat with like a 517. I've got no problem with that. I prefer to put more paint on, like, get the miscoat real nice and solid and that, and I prefer to use the 21. So I personally, if you've got 1,700 quid, go for a Graco 495. If you haven't, and you're looking for a start-up machine to spray on site, get a 390. Can't go wrong. I love using that machine and that, more than my T4, you know. And as I say, it's cheaper. It'll be cheaper on the service, and it's a good start-up model for on-site spraying. So that's my thoughts on it. You can hit me with like anything you want to ask about the machines and that. Just hit me in that and I'll reply back to you. Anyway, over and out.